Hello, this is Jeffery Kin, director of Sarasota Rising and the Living Arts Festival, with Behind the Masterpiece from Visit Sarasota, where I get to talk to amazing people in our community. And today is another day where I get to learn something. You know, how often is it that you get to learn something? Not very often. But it is also with my good friend Tammy Hauser, who I've known for many, many years, with Discover Sarasota Tours. Welcome to the podcast, Tammy.
Thank you, Jeffrey. I'm thrilled to be here.
The next time we talk, I want you to be wearing that pink feather hat that's behind you. That's my expectation.
All right, you got it.
You do have a theatrical flair about you.
I do.
Is your background in theater?
It is. Absolutely, yes.
So tell me just a little bit about it, and then we'll get the tour stuff. Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't know what your background is, but obviously you're a theatrical person.
I am. Yes. So I was trained as an actress and have my first degree in theater, and that's what I was doing. And then I got into arts education, and that was probably 30 years of my initial career, where I was the education director, director of community affairs for two Broadway touring presenting halls in downtown Minneapolis. That's where I'm from, Minneapolis. And I also led all the arts education programs for the state of Minnesota for many years. I led the arts high school that is located in Minneapolis. So lots of background in education, theater, also in dance. And I was then a consultant for the arts for 18 years. I had a company called Blue Sky Thinking. And when I moved to Sarasota, that's what I was doing. I had national dance and theater clients and came here and joined the team at Gulf Coast Community Foundation. I was their arts consultant for several years.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yes.
What years was that? What year was
Let's
that?
see. I moved to Sarasota in 2015.
Okay.
And I started Discover Sarasota Tours in 2018. So it was those 3 years where I was able to consult with a number of different arts organizations here, because my kids were grown and I could really work wherever I wanted to work, and I chose Sarasota. So yeah.
So why did a lot of people have this? You know, oh, my parents used to come here, or my grandparents. Why Sarasota for you?
Jeffrey, I'd never heard of Sarasota, quite frankly. Never heard of it.
Oh.
No. The people in Minneapolis that live in Florida live in Naples. They don't live in Sarasota. So I knew a lot about Naples, but I didn't realize it until my dog and I went on a road trip. I did a Google search of all the arts colonies in the South, because I wanted to leave the cold weather, of course.
Yes.
Hello. And my dog at the time, Poppy, and I drove into town, and I was at C'est La Vie on Main Street having a croissant and a cup of coffee. And I called my daughter and I said, I found it. I wanted a Main Street. I wanted an arts and cultural community. I didn't even know it was on the beach. So that was a super wonderful added bonus. I wanted a smaller community. You know, Minneapolis is pretty large, and I wanted something different. So I chose Sarasota for those reasons. And when it was still kind of a sleepy town, it's certainly not a sleepy town anymore.
Listen, I moved here in 1991, and do you want to talk about some changes, darling? You know, half the buildings are gone, but that's okay. You know what? Change is important, and I think change is wonderful. I fell in love with Sarasota too. I had moved down to the other coast and came over to do a show with a friends at the old Theater Works, and then I kind of stayed. I had actually wanted to retire from theater. Was my plan. So I failed completely in what I was doing. So our paths started crossing. Of course, Michael Newton Brown, bless his heart, was a great friend of mine, a great director, and I always loved to bring his name up because I know he and you were close
Very
friends
close.
and friends as well as business partners. So I want to go there at some point, but I would love to know where I love to talk about inspiration and
Mhm,
where it comes from.
mhm,
And I love, I'm a nerd, so, it comes from the Latin word, the breath of God,
mm,
inspiration. That's the base. And I
mm.
just love how it kind of gets you and how it comes to you. So I would love to know how this idea, because now, entrepreneur, this is a major, you're in charge of a major, I mean,
Yeah.
you're a force to be reckoned with. So where did that initial idea come from?
Yes, I love that too. And I would normally say to you a water feature. A hot tub is where most of my great ideas come in.
And a glass of wine?
And a glass of wine, which also are my muses. My muses come to me, come to a lot of people in water because you're in a sensory place, and a lot of your mental thinking gets turned off. You go into kind of a different space where it's more tactile, more sensual. You've got the white noise of water. I find creativity just sparks for me in the shower. This idea,
Oh,
yeah, this idea, and
you
I've
got
had
your shower curtain behind you?
yes, it looks like it. No, it's not too dissimilar.
For you listeners, it's a beautiful poem. It's beautiful. Sorry,
Very
I
proud.
digress.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes. I've had many ideas and many projects. I've been a commercial theater producer for about 14 years, and that's a whole other story. But Discover Sarasota Tours actually came to me when my final consulting project was running the Center for Architecture. It was a transition period with Cindy and Guy Peterson, who had created that organization. Cindy was ready to retire. I came in as an interim executive director slash consultant to try to help them grow to the next level. And one of the projects I did was the architecture trolley tours. Yeah, which I was really modeling on the Chicago architecture boat tours, which everybody loves. I thought what a great way to open up membership to get people that love architecture, but maybe don't know a lot about it, maybe would get more involved if they were welcomed in and had a really fun, enjoyable experience. So, if you remember Harold Buble, who was the real estate columnist for 30 years for the Herald Tribune, he was my first architecture guide. And we put together a wonderful tour, and it sold out every single week. And it brought a lot of new programmatic revenue into the Center for Architecture, which allowed it to be able to afford, staffing. So once I was doing those tours, people would get off the trolley and say, "This was fantastic. What other tours are there? Is there a city tour? Is there, you have so much history here. Where are those trolley tours?" And when I looked around, there were no trolley tours, which I floored me, because if you compare Savannah, Charleston, Jacksonville, St. Augustine, everybody's got trolley tours. If you have a smidgen of history to share, that's what you do. So that was the inspiration. It was sort of looking from a personal experience, which I had never been in the hospitality industry. I've always been in the artistic entertainment side. Looking at it saying, wow, what if we marry theater and hospitality, and we take advantage of all the things that I fell in love with in Sarasota: the circus history, the Amish community, the art, public art, visual art, performing arts. What if I could take this and meld those worlds together? And to me, I think everything I've done has, when I reflect back now, I've been working for a long time. I think I've always tried to marry different worlds together and create something new from that.
Wow. I mean, that's an interesting perspective. I didn't expect that, but yeah, when you stop and think about all the different things that we have going for us, and then communication. and how do we communicate, and one of the things Visit Sarasota is trying to do, obviously, is help brand us as this cultural coast.
Correct.
And you found a niche.
Absolutely.
You found an untapped market.
An untapped market, and I will say that has also made us the most unique tour company in the country. There is no other tour company who has 17 different tours, who brings original musical theater on board a trolley. It does not exist. Again, because people in the tour industry are in hospitality
Right.
and they're not looking at it like producing a show or creating an entertaining experience. So I feel that has been my particular gift and sort of unique stamp, and why we're here 6 years later with so many repeat customers, almost more like I think I built a theater, Jeffrey. We have subscribers. We
Yeah.
have people that feel a membership, because that's the world I came from. So that's what I built.
How exciting! And yes, you do, and what you do for the community when you talk about the trickle down of the performers that you get to work with and the
Yes.
directors you get to work with, and that money goes to them and helps them, and I mean it really does. You really do feed,
Mhm,
literally,
mhm,
a lot of artists in
mhm,
the area. Actor friends of mine, I know
mhm.
you can do a uh my friend Denny Dreesen does a psychic
Oh,
tour.
she is yes, yes, it's fantastic. It's our really a gift to the metaphysical community, and Denny's a fabulous psychic. She replaced Michael. Michael Newton Brown was my first psychic.
Bless his heart.
Yes, and he felt so strongly as I do that we really are spirits having a human experience, and to bring it and to share the healing powers of Siesta Key, the way that the arts and um, spirituality come together.
Mhm.
That's what we try to do on that tour, and it has been life changing for a lot of people. That Denny's such a gifted medium, and she can has really been able to bring spirit in and help people feel a sense of peace. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I there's so much we don't know about this world.
Yes.
I mean, it's almost like, our place in the universe is so very small, and,
Yeah.
but it is great. So those are on Sundays, right?
Sundays, Psychic
Psych
Sundays, and they start with mimosas as Michael demanded, so it continues, that way, and then you get a little mini tarot card reading, spirit gallery reading, and Kayleen McCaw, who is an amazing sound healer as well as my artistic director, leads a sound healing at the Crocker Church every, part of the tour, and so we're able to also support the Historical Society, with a small donation every week and get people into the Crocker, which has the most amazing acoustics.
it does, and Kayleen is an old dear
Yeah.
friend as well. She costumed, probably about 100 of my shows back in the old Players days, and
Yeah,
she's also a very gifted actress.
very gifted. She
Um
performs in several of our shows.
So, how did the idea of going from a tour of amazing buildings go
Uh-huh.
to doing a play? Where did the
Yeah.
idea of
Well, so when I started in 2018, we had 3 tours that we offered. The city tour, which is our basic bread and butter 90-minute history of Sarasota, arts, culture, neighborhoods, things to do. That's our basic tour. We also had the Circus Secrets of Sarasota, led by Bob Collins, who came to me after having his own tour company. He was only doing circus tours. You can't really have a business with one tour, but his tour was so wonderful. He worked for Ringling for 20 years as their head of advancement. He's really Mr. Circus. So he came to me with a pre existing tour that we just moved to the trolley. And then we had a haunted tour that was produced by Laura Daniels Gale, who had it as a walking tour. I said, why don't we try to refigure this and put it on the trolley? So that was our initial attempt. Each year, we kept adding more and more and more tours. Well, the change happened, Jeffrey, when I was able to purchase my brand new trolley, Dolly, in 2021, post COVID. What I had built in her was a secondary sound system that would run off our DVD player. To have a secondary sound system allowed me to create a mixer, 4 mics, use the iPad as the backtracks to bring aboard a sound system that actually worked for everybody. So that's a very unique aspect. We had to build our own because they're not created that way. Nobody thinks that way for a moving vehicle. So when I was able to do that, that's when Michael and I got very serious. We had been wanting to do a murder mystery show. There is the murder mystery train down in Punta Gorda that a lot of people have gone on. I wanted to do something totally different that celebrated the circus, that was interactive, that got people playing again. And this was a quote Michael has always said to me. Do you remember when Jay Handelman during COVID put out an essay in his column in the Herald Tribune saying, "What do you want to see in theater? Theater has been so changed by COVID. What's the next step for this?" Michael said, "I want to see people playing together. I want to see people uh, non artists coming together and becoming that playful child, playing make believe, playing dress up, and so that's where the idea started. And we created really what I call readers theater on wheels. We cast 14 different parts. 8 are speaking parts, 6 are non speaking parts. You decide when you buy your ticket if you want to play or not play. Always pick play. It's much more fun. But but you get your costume piece, you get your script, and you participate. My cast of actors are the surprise element. They jump aboard at multiple places during the tour and perform, sometimes giving you red herrings, sometimes giving you actual clues, and at the end you vote on who the killer is. But that whole format that Michael and I created together, he wrote the script. We both created the characters. He chose the music. And I put the structure, which is the tour route, the timing, the spacing. So it's almost like you're in a 3D theatrical experience. The
Yeah.
scenery is the city of Sarasota,
Yeah.
and the stories are the circus stories. And
So are
oh, go
oh,
ahead.
I'm just intrigued because I just wondered, you have all these different tours. Are they all about the same amount of time?
Yes,
Is that how you time it out?
yes, the daytime tours are all 90 minutes. Murder is 90 minutes. Our Christmas and our haunted tour are 75 minutes. We've shortened those slightly, but yes, they're 90 minutes and so timed for the entrance, so timed for the reveal. It just works so perfectly together, moving space. It's been the most challenging and the most gratifying to take all the things we know that work in theater and meld them in transportation.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
fascinating. So
The concept is incredible, and of course, you've really built an empire, and now you're
okay.
expanding. Which I was when I saw that popped up on my Facebook, I'm like, really, seriously?
With one
So,
trolley. I know. Yes. We
is it time for a second trolley, Tammy? I mean, come
you
on.
know, I go back and forth. Had you asked me in 2022, I would have said absolutely because
Oh,
demand was so high. It's been a challenge these last couple years for everybody in the hospitality industry because those 2022 numbers were artificially super high. And we all thought, oh, they're just going to keep growing. And that really hasn't. We're really settled into a predictable small amount of growth every year, which is easier to manage in a business than dramatic changes. So at this point, that is a hope, but I like the flexibility. If we have a hurricane like we've had this year, 3, that it doesn't decimate my whole business. I can make changes. I can still be very nimble and flexible, And for now, I really like that. I love history. My dad is a historian. I've always loved history. And so, about 3 years ago, I started a program called History Hop, and we just ran it for 1 week in the month of March. And that's where we took the trolley down to Englewood, and the Englewood Historical Society, Lemon Bay, told the history on their tours. And then we did a day in Venice and we did a day in South Sarasota County. And then I was able to give a charitable contribution back to those historical societies for partnering with us. That just grew and grew, and that was the impetus this year to say, "Hey, there's enough of an audience." A lot of my, regular tour goers live in Venice, Northport, Port Charlotte, and they're very, interested in their own history. So I partnered with Venice, Florida Tours, Ronnie and Tiffany Fernandez, who've been doing walking and golf cart tours in Venice for maybe about 2 or 3 years, and I asked if they'd like to jump aboard and lead with me the Venice City Tour. So that's how that started. Bob, with the circus, has always lamented the fact that the circus was in Venice for as long as it was in Sarasota, over 30 years. I mean, who knows that? There are very few remnants. It wasn't in its healthiest condition when it ended up moving to Venice, so a lot of things haven't lasted, but we wanna tell that story. That's an important story that put Venice on the map, really. So we've decided on every Tuesday in the season to do a 10 a.m. Venice City tour and a 1 p.m. Circus Venice tour, leaving from the Venice Chamber. That's my home there in
Oh,
Venice.
nice.
So I
Yeah.
don't have to have another business location. So it's a bit of a test. If it takes off, gosh, then I could see multiple days. I could see having another trolley as we expand out. I'm loving it. It's important for Sarasota County history that we include both communities.
Again, you're speaking my language because with the Living Arts Festival, my whole point was this is a cultural coast.
It
We
is.
need to break down these borders a little bit. We need to, this needs to go away. I think it's just insane how we compartmentalize
Yeah,
everything these days, and it's not needed. So
not
that's why
needed.
I love the fact that we can kind of do what we want to do and incorporate and build a bigger table.
Yep.
I think it's so important. And
Mhm.
and I just got to tell you, I have had so many friends. Oh, we're going on a birthday thing. Oh, we're doing an anniversary thing. We're doing a so you actually there's you do a lot of group parties,
We do a
right?
ton of birthdays. I can't tell you how many Christmas cards Dolly the Trolley and all of my cast are in because we become their family celebration. I love that. There's no more fun way, different way, um, to get families of all ages. We have younger kids, grandma and grandpa,
Mhm.
parents in the middle, aunts and uncles, friends. They buy out the whole trolley, they all play together, and it is such a bonding experience, which,
Yep,
you can go to dinner. I love going to dinner, lovely. I love going to a show, lovely. But where do you play together?
right.
Where do you have fun and become children and people together? And that's Michael and I were surprised by that, Jeffrey,
Mm.
probably subconsciously. All theater people want you put it out there, you want people to connect to it, to connect audience and actors. You want that connection, of course. We didn't realize, I certainly didn't. Maybe he did. I don't know. We didn't talk about that, but we were surprised by um, the level of joy that we
Hmm.
have been able to create. Maybe we've needed it more the last couple of years, but I've been brought to tears with groups that just,
Wow.
um,
People, I got to tell you, for having run a community theater, I've said over and over again. Somebody said, "Well, what do you do?" I'm like, "We save lives." And they're like, "How does theater save lives?" I'm like, "You have no idea the depth of need in our community for people to work together, to play together, to cry together, to laugh together. You know, and get off your phones and turn off the TV and
Exactly.
talk to people. You know, no texting. I mean, just it's
Be
we
there. Be present.
be present. Well, you're a present. You are Sarasota's regional president
Queen
of
of fun.
Discover Sarasota Tours. No, thank you for, I'm so glad that the region has you, and I'm so glad that I love the story of how organically it happened,
Mm,
and what a blessing. So the best way to get a hold of you is online, I'm sure, right?
mhm.
At
Yep.
discoversarasotatours.com.
Absolutely. We're also have a very charming trolley cottage gift shop where all our tours leave from. We have free parking and we answer the phone. You will actually talk to a human being when you
Wow.
call us.
Don't spoil us.
I know. We love talking to people. We love helping people who have lived here forever rediscover what Sarasota is.
Hmm.
As much as we love helping people for whom this is their first time here to absolutely fall in love and say, wow, there's so much more than just beaches. There's so much more than beautiful parks and nature, which I love.
Yeah.
But there's so much more. And we do have a wonderful history, a very unique community, and we're just delighted to share it. We all
Well,
love it.
Well, you do, and I hope our listeners and are paying attention to, again, pick up the phone, go online, and then do
Mhm.
something exciting and different, and
Yeah.
break some rules and have some fun. I love what you said. You bringing joy. What a great thing.
Of
Thank you for bringing joy to me today.
course.
Great conversation as always. It's always wonderful to see you. It's hard to wrap these things up, but we can't talk forever. But I'm definitely going to do that psychic tour because
Oh, you
that
are.
mimosa and Denny sounds like a good combination.
Start the year off right. Get
Absolutely.
your predictions in order. So
Thank you so much, Tammy,
thank you
very
for
much for your
having
time.
me.
And thank you to our listeners for listening to Sarasota's Behind the Masterpiece. We love our conversations with our arts practitioners, and we appreciate your listening and watching. Take good care. Thanks for being in our audience. I'm Jeffery Kin, Sarasota Rising Living Arts Festival. If you'd like more information about the incredible work that Visit Sarasota does, please visit them at visitsarasota.com. Thanks so much for being a part of our audience.